Hi, I'm Colton with Virtual Residence, where I hope to be your home for VR content. And today I wanted to talk about this new, meta thing that Facebook is, transitioning to. As it currently stands, Facebook putting a trademark and also transitioning into Meta now to try to essentially own and capture the growing and emerging metaverse. And while I do think it is a very intelligent and tactical move, I think it is very dangerous when it comes to actually talking about the future of the VR space. In the Meta Connect, Zuckerberg went over way too many things that I can even cover here, but some of the things that were really noteworthy to me, I wanted to go over and discuss in this video. And first and foremost, one of the most noticeable things that I latched onto was the fact that it talked about like new forms of government.
It's also going to take ecosystem building, norm setting, and new forms of governance. And
so essentially this could be broken down to the fact that I honestly just don't trust Facebook as a company to, completely store and keep all my privacy secure. Just because of a lot of the stuff that has come out around them and how Mark Zuckerberg has handled privacy concerns, user agreements, and pretty much everything in regards to, using our data, not in necessarily a nefarious way, like, oh, Gestapo is going to come to your door because of what you said on Facebook. But the reality is right now, I'm just more concerned about being treated as a complete and total product. And I'm not a product, I'm a human being just like you are. We shouldn't be, considered products to be sold and bought without any sort of compensation. That being said, is the fact that they're involving governments into this, it really does worry me about how intrusive and how involved the establishment is going to be in our everyday lives, and also potentially how much censorship could actually go forth as the metaverse is being created. If it is a true API owned by Meta, and essentially they have the final say in things that happen within the metaverse, it spells big trouble for actually establishing a fair, free, and open environment for everyone to thrive in. I guess my biggest concern with this whole entire sub-government slash, emerging government is the fact that when you intertwine a technological company that wants to really shape reality and change the way in which we perceive existence, it is a troubling thought. So that's something that I think we need to establish early on, is that we have a set of constitutional rights that extend into the metaverse, and it's what we deem and decide to be okayed with us as a whole, and say that this is what we're willing to sacrifice and this is what we're willing to do. And I really think that that willingness needs to have a very strict line and not, to be pushed much further. Another area that I really want to talk about is that Mark Zuckerberg talked about the future of businesses. To me, this is a really interesting concept because it could go quite far in the way in which you actually create and generate money within the metaverse. You could have an actual business store where you sell, digital items, digital goods that you can handcraft and create. And that's one of the big things that I believe needs to be available for people day one, is that you should not have to pay any sort of licensing fee. I think that it should be as simple as Microsoft Paint. You should be able to get in there, start sculpting and doing creative things and generate revenue off of it. I don't know exactly what this looks like, but I believe that it really needs to be open source to a degree and very easy for people to have access to, even without prior knowledge of any sort of coding or understanding the intricacies of this technology. When users are allowed to create for free and be able to generate a revenue off of that, it's just amazing. It's why places like YouTube or Twitch or really any of these social media / content creation platforms thrive so much, is because we can get on here with no upfront cost to us to have a spot on this website, and we can start generating revenue, fans, experiences that people get to enjoy. And I just love that about these platforms, and I think that needs to extend into the metaverse. And if we're not careful, the inequality that exists in real everyday life, of being from super poor to super wealthy and having most of the people be on the bottom echelon of that, it will extend into the metaverse if we're not careful. We can't have pay to win mechanics and things of that nature. If there is ad campaigns for digital products, it needs to be at least somewhat fair, and there needs to be some kind of natural production or a way to find your niche. But the big thing is that it has to be equal, and there has to be opportunity for everyone to thrive in the metaverse. It cannot be the same extension of reality where it's very hard for people to actually break through and, make something of themselves. This could really revitalize, the quote-unquote American dream for a lot of people, I believe, if you do it and implement it right. But if we make it essentially another pay-to-win scenario where you hop in here and you have all this money so you can run tons and tons of ad campaigns and you crush out the competition, and you make it to where, these very amazing and talented young artists have, no growth because you're stamping them out with your already existing ad revenue or ad capital, basically capital to market. It's not a good way to, change the way in which we work and change the way in which that we conduct business. So yes, I think we need to have a set of constitutional rights that extend into the metaverse. I believe that we need to have and fight inequality within the metaverse's workspace and business sectors. And I think that it needs to be a free open source platform for anyone to hop on and to make a business or a name for themselves within it. Not everyone's going to be successful, but we need to make it equal in the sense that everyone has the opportunity to be immensely successful. We are treading on kind of, weird territory with the state of where we're going as a human species if we do this, because the fact is that reality is a very thin veil and a very thin construct, because what too many people don't really understand is that what you see and experience and live out in this everyday life is, real to at least you the observer. And I might have a flavored perspective on this because I used to do lots of psychedelic drugs. So I got to a point in my life where I was just so kind of out there that my grip on reality was very thin. It was very altered, I guess. And something that I learned out of that experience is the fact that, reality is a very kind of a scary thing, because you start messing with your perception of reality and it can greatly impact your life in both a positive and a negative way. Now, obviously, we're not talking about mind-altering drugs, but you have to think about it from a broader perspective. Some people have been driven to all sorts of things because their perception of who they are and what they are has been so warped and altered by other people. Other people calling them trash or fat or this or that, gay, stupid. It's driven people to go as far as to end their own lives, go on shooting sprees, and do all sorts of atrocious things to themselves and to other people. It's a weird thing to talk about and think about, but it's sad and scary that people will be given even probably more power to alter and, torment others. And I hope that we can create some sort of safeguard against that while still keeping people's, freedom of speech, expression, etc. intact. But it is a scary thought to know that people's perceptions of reality could be even so much more warped and altered than they already currently are. And it's a very dangerous game to play, because you have all these different companies and different political parties and different, religious groups and all sorts of different echelons, and I would call them niches because I'm a YouTuber, but different ideologies that want to infiltrate you and form you to what they want you to be instead of you actually being who you are. And that's, to me, a very dangerous game when you're talking about adding a layer of virtual / real reality on top of that. It's blended reality, augmented reality. It's going to completely change the way in which we think about everyday life. And the fact that we already have, phone apps that we talk to, or, we have virtual assistants that we play around with and joke with, we all kind of know that they're not real. But what happens when we start actually, entering that phase of where the Turing effect takes place, and we have trouble telling the difference between these, virtually, digitally constructed people within our home, and I think of things like the game Detroit Become Human. What about when these virtual assistants and digital things that are, you know, in our augmented reality become more or as real as other human beings to us? Will we, you know, feel the need, people who are single, will they feel the need to ever, you know, find a real life romantic partner? Or will they be okay with, you know, having essentially a virtual AI assistant be their love interest? It's a very weird, and once again, it's a place where the mind could be warped dramatically, and it makes me worry for the future generations. But at the end of the day, these are just the thoughts of me, someone who is a little bit weird, is a little bit different, and who just loves the potential of a future where we can integrate these technologies in a very wholesome and peaceful way into our lives. But there is a lot of potential for negative and even, you know, possibly dystopian futures that could emerge out of it. Anyways, if you did make it this far, thank you so much for watching. I know it got a little rambly, it's a little bit of a long video. Hopefully you watched it all, hopefully you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with anything I said? What do you think about the future of the metaverse, and do you think that we need to collectivize and say that these are our constitutional rights? Click the like button, and if you're new here, subscribe, because I would really appreciate it. I'm on track and been, you know, growing exponentially this last month, so I thank you all who are new here. Be sure to stay tuned, because I have more videos coming out very soon, and I'm not going to reveal them quite yet, but they're going to be good, okay? Trust me. All right, you guys have a great week. I will see you in the next video.